Hello, and welcome to the podcast, episode 27, where today we're going to be discussing motivating sloths. So, this is a response to homework. Basically, my teacher has given me a homework assignment for an economics class that I am taking, and it's basically about if you can, if it's possible for a government, for instance, either state or civil government, it doesn't really matter, for the government to, civilly, I don't know if civilly is a word, but I think you know what I mean, civilly find a way to motivate lazy people in its society to become productive. And I'm doing this as a podcast episode instead of an essay because I don't actually know how to use my keyboard, and I'm very afraid of pencils. So this was the only option. But I think it's safe to say that we, in this day and age, we have kind of fallen. A lot of people have fallen into a trap of just not just being allergic to manual labor, just not having the motivation to have a job, even knowing that the job is will give you money as a reward for doing what it asks you to doing what they ask you to do. People still just decide to stay in their parents' basement all day. Mind you, don't expect this to be a long podcast episode, but do expect it to be one that seems like I made it like a year ago when I was in the groove of making podcast episodes that were about just issues in our society, such as bad parenting. This is definitely one of those things that fits into that category, just with a longer title. So to break this down, so I can make this podcast episode as long as possible, we must first, obviously, understand what motivates laziness. Not motivates people to be productive, what motivates people to be lazy. And I think lazymotivated.com describes it perfectly with their list of 7 things, I think. Oh, 10. 10 things that motivate laziness. It's number one. It's number one basically says it's people often question themselves of if their input is going to be any good to others. They give an example of, let's say you want to start a blog. There are a lot of places for you to doubt your ability to do it effectively. With a few bulletin points here: will my insights be valuable? Will my writing be good enough? Will anyone read it? Lacking self-discipline, that is probably one of the big ones that causes laziness. It's the non-ability to pick yourself up and do something. People who do a lot of things have the self-control to just stop what they're not doing and start doing what they're doing. And I'll tell you something, to all the lazy people who are watching me right now, I'll say this: doing things feels much better than not doing things. So, that's pretty cool. No, but seriously, if you are kind of in a state of slothness, I do highly motivate you to just try making something or doing something. Let's say you've got that one really big weed patch in your yard. Take care of that. It's spring, so don't act like it's not there, because I know it is. And if you have a fear of failure, which Lazy Motivated also lists in number 7 and 8, that's all in your head. That's the kind of thing that you have to get over. It's just you literally have to have the mindset of the worst they can say is no. I mean, even if whatever you're facing, throws a ball of dirt in your face and calls you an idiot, that is just saying no. That's just a different way of saying no, and that's how you have to view it. Now, me saying all these things compared to a government motivating its community to get a job, that's a bit different. What I'm doing is effectively walking up to my best friend and saying, "Hey man, what are you doing, watching all these YouTube shorts and TikToks when you could be, cutting a tree down that's about to fall on your house?" That's a bit of an extreme and ridiculous scenario, but just, you know what I mean. A government making a public outcry and saying the, let's say, unemployment rate is too low. We need you guys to get out of your chairs and start joining the workforce. That's something really big. And it's something that if a government did, they would really struggle with it. Because there would be a lot of people that just say, no. Now, of course, what the government could do is they could just arrest all the people that would say no, but that would be not so great. Because if a government says we need more people to join the workforce, what they're effectively saying is we need people who have been retired for 30 plus years. We need them to join the workforce. Even though they I don't know, even though they were an electrician and a plumber for half of their life, made enough money so they could live off of just what they had for the rest of their life. Never mind all of that. We need them to work at the food store. What's it called? Grocery store. So people can pay for things at the food store, grocery store. That would be quite tyrannical. It would be actually extremely tyrannical. Because there are people out in the world that do genuinely deserve retirement. And that's something that I don't even need to say. That's pretty obvious. They've spent a lot of their time on Earth, working, and they deserve a rest. They deserve to do what they want to do. Work on their house if they have to, or focus on what they really love doing, which is something that they were never really able to focus on when they were working. On the other hand, there's the lot of people who just don't work because they don't want to. They're the people who are 30 years old and still living with their parents. They're the people who may just be not able to find a job. And that's something else you have to apply to this. The people that can't find a job. I mean, the people who can't find a job, the reasons could range from they were a convicted drug dealer to they just are not doing so well on their resume and they need to just tweak a little thing, but they don't really know what. And for these kinds of people, it does seem, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, because in a lot of ways it is a good thing. It does seem like the government is actually motivating these people to not try any harder, by giving them welfare and, food stamps and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because for the people who just are not able to find a job because they don't have arms or whatever, because they pulled them off or something, that's good. But at the same time, something like that is so easily exploitable. It's a lot like, actually, it's exactly like how, quote unquote, homeless people, go out on the streets and, get their dog food bowl that says Fido on it and just kind of, walk around asking for money and just walk around with a cardboard box that says money, PLZ, God bless. And as it turns out, these people are actually, making six figures because of that exact thing. And of course, what this does is it ruins the chances of actual homeless people, getting money to help them, because so many people are seeing on the news, oh, this panhandler over here has we caught another one, boys, and then all of the actual homeless people are just, they're kind of in his shadow, and they just, there goes all the money. But I mean, the people who have the mindset to do something like that will probably say the same thing. I'm making so much money off of this, why would I stop? It's a cheap and easy way to get money. It's getting money without having to do work. The most work you're going to have to do is to, really bring out your artistic skills on that cardboard box. But it's an extremely unethical way of doing it, because you're unethically taking away the money of people who actually thought they were doing the right thing. You're taking the money of good-willed people, so your scam can be funded further for less quality clothes. These are the kinds of people that just don't have the mindset of just trying. And like the thing that sucks about it is that it's not even a genius way of doing it. It's a pretty it's a good idea, but it's not like anyone could think of that and everyone did. Anyways, going back to the main subject. Can and should a government at least try to motivate its community to join the workforce? Is there a civil way of doing that? I mean, if the government just kind of came out and said, "Hey, the employment rate is a little low. We would enjoy it. We would really appreciate it." They got their little sad face on. We would really appreciate it if you guys would just join the workforce, please. It, that wouldn't work. It might work for maybe a few thousand people, but the majority would not listen. Something they could do that definitely would motivate people to, become productive would be to give them an extra reward. What this would mean, however, is that there would be a large upcry of people, throwing their arms up and saying unfair. And that group of people would, of course, be the people that were that had a job in the first place. Now, as I stated, while that may not be a perfect plan, it's the best one that I can think of. It's the most civil, and it's the one that will bring the most people, to contribute to the employment rate. So, at least in my eyes, there is no real, completely fair and ethical and civil way of bringing people to a job, because you also have to realize that it's not just a matter of just saying the government says, can you please get a job, and then people get jobs. You also have to think about people who can't get a job, number one, and people who struggle to find a job. Maybe that one day they will find a job, probably they will, but people who, have to really find that golden gem of, something that they will, still relatively enjoy and, get a decent amount of pay from, while it still being, a job that, willingly hires them. I don't know what a job that unwillingly hires someone would be like. I don't think that's a thing, but you know what I mean. So, with that, I think that is all I have to say. Have a good day. And can I at least get a C minus?